is something that is potentially very viable when you have large-scale power plants and capture at the source and bury in some underground sediments. It's much more difficult to capture CO2 at the tailpipe of the 120, 130 odd million cars that run around the road in North America, and then take that somewhere and sequester it. So there is some issues. But these are basically the three options. Okay, there is a fourth option, that's if you can't do this, and that's going to somehow be able to engineer a future society to be able to cope with a society in which climate change would have happened. They want to do this. Energy efficiency. Okay, so let's look at stationary services. There's a variety of things that you do. Co-generation is a very promising thing. What co-generation entails is that typically when you're burning combusting fuels to produce power, it's the combustion process is essentially a heat engine type of process, and you're using roughly, depending on the type of combustion technology, you're using only about 50% or so of the energy value of that fuel to produce electricity, and the rest is heat. And in typical applications, that heat essentially is just waste heat. Now, if you realize that in most residential applications, we need both power and heat, then it's not a huge step to realize that you have the potential for huge energy efficiencies by using these combined heat and power generation cycles. These have been demonstrated with, for example, gas turbine technology as well as fuel cells, and they can achieve up to 80% efficiencies. So huge, okay? And that translates directly into a reduction. If you're going from 50 to 80%, you have reduced roughly your emissions by 30%. There is a lot of things that you can do in industry as well to retrofit a number of industrial processes and look at energy efficiency in all the chains of the systems. In buildings, in addition to cogeneration, you can also reduce demand. For example, we're here in a building that exceeds the most stringent energy guidelines and codes and standards in Canada by 25%. And that's achieved with a whole array of technologies, okay, by using recycled materials, by recycling the water, by recovering the heat from the system, by using energy efficient light fixtures, etc. Okay? So, this is the second. There is also, we have another building which is just across the way from over there, the medical sciences building, which has many of the same features as well. So it is possible to do this, and the premium in terms of cost is not excessive. Now, I don't know if George Zanowitz is here. He would be able to give us what the number.